So far, I've kind of picked up on three principal people. Old guy, the woman,
Right.
and the kid.
All right.
I've actually seen what looks like somebody in the window, like a shadow of a person.
She kind of took us around, explained to us that, frequently people hear footsteps in the lighthouse, they've seen shadows.
And also people have said they've heard what sounds like somebody tapping on the windows.
Faces in this window.
Okay. So Chip, once again, picked up instantly on our lighthouse keeper.
The old guy
Yeah.
spent time in this room. Is there a C involved in his name?
He came in and he said there's someone very attached to the lighthouse who has a double C name.
Is the double C man one of the keepers of the light?
Yes.
Yes. Going in with names that we knew specifically, that we know for a fact these people lived in this space.
We heard footsteps upstairs when we asked for footsteps.
I'm Adam Berry,
And I'm Amy Bruni.
and this is Kindred Spirits Inside the Investigation.
So this is the Rose Island Lighthouse in Newport, Rhode Island. Logistically, this was a tough case for us because it is really just an island. And so we had to literally boat all of our gear and our crew and everything out to the island. And you're basically like, once you're there, you're there. So it was definitely interesting.
I can see the lighthouse right there. Years ago, there was a huge cholera epidemic in Newport, and they used the island to put cholera victims on and isolate them so they weren't contagious to everyone else in Newport. There were a number of deaths, cholera related.
So my question is, why us and why now?
Well, I think at this point, they have overnight guests that stay out there by themselves.
Yeah.
And they're having experiences and they can't leave.
So this space is utilized by a lot of people. So our focus was finding out what's on the island, paranormal-wise. Is it going to affect what's happening to this organization who has put a lot of money into keeping up the historical integrity of this building? And, will it prevent other people from coming to this island if the activity picks up and gets more aggressive?
Hi, Adam.
Hi, I'm Amy. When was the lighthouse itself built?
Well, it was commissioned in 1869.
Was it families that lived here, like lighthouse keepers and their families?
There was. Most of our stories come from this gentleman. His name was Wanton Chase, and he lived here as a child. When Wanton was born, he had a respiratory problem. His parents asked if he could live out here. They thought the fresh air might help his breathing.
This was a man who kind of spent his childhood on Rose Island. He lived out there with his grandparents. I think that part of the reason why they put him out there was because he was having breathing issues, and they thought that being out on the island would kind of help him in a way because of the fresh air.
He lived here for about 7 years. A few years ago, someone had an experience. They saw this presence of this young boy coming out of the lighthouse, running down the hill.
That's insane.
Wow.
His grandparents were the keepers here, Charles Curtis and Christina Curtis.
Joan was the one who gave us the tour of the island, and she'd been involved with Rose Island Lighthouse for quite a while and has had a number of experiences.
On the back window over here, they have actually seen what looks like somebody in the window, like a shadow of a person. And also people have said they've heard what sounds like somebody tapping on the windows.
She kind of took us around, explained to us that, frequently people hear footsteps in the lighthouse, they've seen shadows, they've had doors shut on their own.
And a lot of people have said that they've experienced hearing footsteps from the tower. And they usually stop right in front of the stove here because they said when Charles Curtis got done with his shift, he would warm up a cup of hot milk for himself.
Going in with names that we knew specifically, that we know for a fact these people lived in this space. We know for a fact that this person built this, that, and the other, is really what we wanted to focus on.
So this is helpful. This is an entire list of all of the caretakers that were on the island. So we can use this, like all these names, starting from 1869. This is Charles Curtis. So he must have been Wanton's grandfather?
Yeah.
So we still had our work cut out for us, but if Joan tells us that I get a lot of activity when I mention Wanton, then we're definitely going to be talking about him.
We were doing something a little different because where we're going, it's a very recognizable place. And so what we did is We took some things from there and brought them here for you to kind of look at and see what kind of vibe you get from them.
All right.
This was a challenge because we like to bring Chip in cold. So we don't like him to know where he's going, just so he doesn't have any like leading thoughts or you know, preconceived notions of the space.
I just need to tell you this
Okay.
about what I was getting before I showed up here. I felt like we were going on the water.
He said, you guys need to investigate near water. And so he really didn't realize where we were going or anything. I mean, there was sand and things, but like, you know, he said you need to get close to the water. You need to investigate close to the water. I don't think he knew how close to the water he was going to be getting at that point, but he was right.
Yep.
So far, I've kind of picked up on three principal people: old guy, the woman,
Right.
and the kid.
All right.
The old guy
Yeah.
spent time in this room.
Oh, he did?
Is your C involved in his name?
Yes.
So Chip, once again, picked up instantly on our lighthouse keeper. You know, he came in and he said, there's someone very attached to the lighthouse who has a double C name.
Is the double C man one of the keepers of the light?
Yes.
Yes.
Because he's saying to me, he has been up here in every possible kind of weather.
Yes.
Snow and sleet and rain and wind.
Yeah.
And he took care of this place and he loved it.
We don't know how Chip does it. He blows us away every time. But yeah, so that was a huge clue to us that we were on the right track.
The CC name, once again, was like right on the money because they believe that one of the ghosts here is one of the former lighthouse keepers, and his name was Charles Curtis.
We always try to be as specific as possible in our intentions when we're in a space because we don't want to go in and just be like, hey, what's your name? And just start investigating without just cause. So we are always as clear as possible to whoever we're trying to talk to about the reasons why we're there, what we're trying to do, and what our goal is.
Mr. Curtis, it's time to go upstairs.
We'd love to talk to you.
We keep hearing that people hear your footsteps.
We made it.
Are you going up to tend the light, Mr. Curtis?
Did you see when you're
Coming now. Or coming down.
All right, that's good. You can come down now. We'll listen.
All right.
We heard footsteps upstairs when we asked for footsteps. That's huge.
It's huge.
One of the coolest things we can do is kind of disprove, you know, popular notions and rumors, because that way, when people are investigating, they can actually start addressing who could actually be there as opposed to someone who was never there in the first place.
Also, what's cool, I think our interest in the lighthouse and the information that we wanted to know sparked a little interest with them. And I think, because they were like, oh, I don't know, this is cool, this is neat information. And I think rejuvenated their desire to know a little bit more.
Hi, Joan.
Hey, Joan.
Hi,
Good to see
welcome
you.
back.
Thank you.
This has been a real treat, so thank you for having us. We have Chip Coffey, who's a psychic medium.
He picked up on an older gentleman.
We heard the sound of footsteps upstairs.
Crazy.
Isn't it crazy? And so that experience was like, okay.
What do you think about that? Yeah.
Oh, I think it's wonderful because I hope he is watching, and I think he is happy about everything here. So that's kind of rewarding to hear.
There's a lot of history here, but I would say that Mr. Curtis is an essential part of the history here and still very much watching over this lighthouse.
That's such a good feeling, actually.
And I think that Charles Curtis is very present in that lighthouse. And I think anyone who decides to spend the night out there and listens carefully enough, they will hear those footsteps as he continues his work.
Thanks for watching. And for more Kindred Spirits content, head to Travel Channel Go.